All right, there we go. We're back once again. You see the name. I'm here with Setchi. Say what's up.
What's up?
I haven't done a video with Setchi. I remember the last time, dude, the last time I did a video with someone about Zato was with Pep when Wild Assault like first lost Hard Knockdown. So it's been a minute. But I mean, this character is obviously went from back then, he was undoubtedly the worst character in the game. Like, I don't think anyone would argue with it. He was definitely the worst character in the game. And now we're at the point where he's kind of getting some love a bit.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. This character's been changed in ways that I think we can both agree we wouldn't think. Like, they buffed his conversions as, you know, a character that was strictly mix-up and, you know, kind of lacked the neutral, and now he's out here doing, whether you're counter hit, standing or crouching, he's just taking you through the wall at times. So I guess kind of talk to me about how you feel the way Zato's been changed throughout Season 3 to now.
Yeah, so the conversions, in terms of conversions, it's sort of one of the things where old Zato would never be allowed to have these things, right? Like Season 2 Zato, you could not have standing counter hit into like full combo into wall break. Like that's just not something that could have existed because of his strengths and because of his burst safety and so on. Yeah, that just couldn't have existed. But after he got shot at the end of Season 2, is sort of being like he was a fundamentally broken character to the extent that like they had to sort of add these things that feel really weird for Zato to have. Like Zato in old games couldn't do that, couldn't convert into Invite Hell like that. But because of the changes they made in Season 2, he sort of like needed it. And it's also one of the things that we were like kind of wanting them to add, or like not really wanting them to add, but more so like, again, they just need to add. We were like, when I say we, I mean like me, Hane, and the other Zatos, we were sort of thinking like, okay, because Eddie is dead for so long, you need to make solo Zato better or make Eddie broken, right? Eddie is still really easy for a lot of characters to snipe. Like, think Leo Fireball, think Sin fucking doing. Characters. A load of characters can kill Eddie, like, straight hit.
Bridget, Leo, Gold
Bridget, Yo-Yo, Leo,
Ram,
Gold Lewis, Skyfish. Right, yeah, like a lot of, especially the good characters like Johnny Misfinder, a lot of good characters can kill Eddie pretty easily. So if Eddie isn't going to be super strong, and they have tried to buff Eddie, right? Like they moved him, he moves forward quicker, which matters for like some setups and stuff. Also matters for neutral. They've buffed oppose. They've whatever buffs they've done, but they've buffed Eddie at the point. Because I think the idea is, if he's gone for longer, then he should be stronger with him, which would make sense. But then on the other side of things, solo Zato, we were sort of hoping for like 2S into Invite Hell.
This was so disappointing, dude.
It's not really like 2S into Invite Hell. Again, these conversions for Zato, they matter for Zato because they can help stall. But again, these are not like insane conversions. And we were kind of just hoping that they would make Invite Hell faster to make it work. They actually went even further than that, which is crazy. They made fast slash higher attack level, which is not something we were really expecting, because it means that like on block, unless you have a full frame, this is basically unfuckwivable, which is kind of crazy because that makes his command grab
okay.
So from Season 3 to now, they basically have removed a lot of his like glaring flaws. They've removed his, obviously at the start of Season 3, he was by far the worst character in the game versus Burst that we've ever seen, and YRC and But then they kind of fixed that by making it so that Eddie comes back where he dies. So like if I get a combo like this and then you burst, or if I get a combo like this and then you YRC, I've got Eddie. Eddie is fine. Also matters for like 2K 2D. I don't have to like just do nothing because I'm afraid of burst. I can do 2K 2D summon, and if you burst, then I'm fine. So they've sort of removed that massive issue versus burst. I do still think he's got, and sadly, I don't think they're going to like fix it even more, even though I think he still is like awful versus burst. Like, or like not awful, but I still think he's like really bad versus burst.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because I don't know. Is there a way for me to counter hit, or do you just want to swing into me? Yeah, that because like if I'm doing a combo like this, obviously like there's some certain things around it, but like if I ever do 2S frog, as soon as you see the frog, you could just burst, and the best that happens is I block it from full screen. I have no eddy meter, and I mean like that's a win for you, right?
Yeah.
So like if I ever do invite Howard to frog in a combo, then you know that sucks. And then it's not like I have many bursts. It's not like Zato has many burst safe routes. It's not like he has many burst safe routes that can get around that problem.
Yeah.
Like let's say I'm doing Oki, you block, and I hit you low. Well, not even burst. Well, don't even burst. Let's just say I like open you up, hit you low. Well, I can't do that. Sorry. Open you up. I mean, I can do something like this, but then as soon as I get to the corner, I've got to do like a 2H, which you can burst.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So I can't do a burst safe combo. Or
Yeah.
oh, or I could do something like this, where it's like block, get hit by the low.
Oh, sorry. Dude, have
Yeah.
it. sorry.
Okay, I'll,
Yeah.
I mean, like I can 6H there, but you can burst that on reaction. I can. So like one of the things I'll do is I'll just do that.
Yeah.
And that's a quote-unquote burst bait, because basically my thinking is they're gonna burst on the 2H, and then I'll unsummon and I get to save Eddie. That's a burst bait, where the only reward is I still get bursted to full screen, but I save Eddie. They still have like massive frame advantage, and like that's not really a thing that any other character has to do. Other characters do not have to drop their combos for not even a real burst bait.
Yeah.
You know, and like. If you just whip throw again, there's certain things you can do, like you can do this, and you can do like Hearse routing, but even then, if they just burst when you're near Eddie being dead, or when Eddie is dead, that's still like a massive advantage for the opponent.
Yeah.
That just means I think he's, despite the fact that he has the ability to bait burst and stuff, and he has some burst safe routes when Eddie is out, I still think he is probably the worst character versus burst in the game.
Okay. I do remember the last time I made a video with Pep, as much as being the worst character versus burst, he also said that he's the worst character versus DPs. Do you still think that now, or do you think that opinion has changed a bit?
I'm not sure I agree with that. I think Zato has gotten a worse versus DPs since... Well, it's weird, because solo Zato versus DPs has gotten better after the DPRC got changed.
Yeah.
But like in Eddie strings, DP versus Eddie is versus Eddie strings, I'd say is stronger now, because like you used to always just be able to like throw out a throw and then cover it with Eddie, and now DP actually beats that option. So going for the throw there is actually riskier, and so like YOLO DPs in defense versus Zato can actually be stronger now.
Gotcha.
So, but I don't think he's the worst versus DPs. I think like obviously he has like DP safe Oki and stuff. That's not really his. I wouldn't really describe that as a problem for him.
Okay, got you. One of the things I think most people kind of meme on, that Zato wasn't included in the patch notes for the emergency patch, but I don't think people also realize that he did get some damage buffs in Season 4, and they took it away for more than half the roster, and he was one of the characters that didn't get his damage buffs removed. So talk to me about how important you think that is to him. Do you feel it low when you play? Is it something, is it noticeable?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does matter, right? Like he got damage buffs. Obviously, characters got HP buffs, but he got HP buffs, and other characters got their damage nerfed. So that means on average he should be living longer, right? And
Yeah.
he should be living longer, and he should relatively be better at killing people. So that all matters. Yeah, I'm not. It's just not enough. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, of course.
obviously, I don't think he's the worst character in the game right now. I think Dizzy.
Yeah, I think
is
Dizzy,
probably
yeah.
Dizzy's probably worse. I don't think any other character is worse. I think he's probably second after Dizzy, but that doesn't really matter that much. So yeah, obviously the damage things do matter, but then it gets into the question of like whether other characters, Estimate, Milia, other characters that got those buffs in the patch that like for some of them they probably needed it less than Zato.
Yeah. You mentioned before when you were talking that the /invite hell change, you weren't expecting, it to happen, and it did, but we can both agree as people that have played Zato that it would have been much better if they just put that on 2S, if they increased the attack level of 2S.
Oh, 100%. Like, fast slash matters for like certain things, like I said, command grab in the corner is way better because you do this, and like, it's a way stronger RPS. But fast slash is obviously a way worse button. Like, in neutral, you do not want to throw out fast slash unless you know it's gonna hit. Whereas, yeah, if 2S was higher attack level or just invite hell was faster, it means it would have helped his neutral and his whiff punish way better. Because whiff punishing with fast slash is more difficult. It's still a good range button. It's still 10 frame button, but it would have been stronger if 2S invite hell was a thing. But I don't think that's a huge difference, or it's a huge deal. Like, I think fast slash invite hell being a combo is good enough. Like, it's not something that I would complain about,
Yeah, I got
yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, for 2S, they did compensate it. They gave it more active frames. This is one of the things that I actually was complaining about. I think that, after you hit someone with invite hell, a lot of times, you'd go up to do like a meaty 2S and they had backdash, right? It still feels like they backdash out of it somehow, but, I mean, nonetheless, buffs are buffs, so I guess it's something that, we do take.
Well, it depends on the situation, because if you're doing a run up 2S and it's just that the 2S isn't in range, so that their backdash would, by the time they become vulnerable, they'll be outside of the range.
Yeah.
That hasn't been changed at all, right? So those type of situations are still gonna, be bad. But situations like if you did command grab in the corner versus heavyweights, they were the only characters that could, or 6 frame invul, they could backdash versus 2S before, whereas they can't anymore. Things like that matter. Yeah, it matters, but I wouldn't say it matters like a huge deal. 2S was always good versus backdash. It was obviously the go-to button.
Okay. Do you think that... So, one of the things that I think reason Zato got nerfed to start at the start of 3.0 was his Runaway game by the devs it was seen as too strong. So I think, with the nerf to flight, but the buff to, being able to send them back far, if you land a far slash, being able to stall for that Eddie timer. Do you think his Runaway game is now, like, anywhere near what it was before? Do you think it's strong? Do you think that area of Zato is still strong or no?
One of the, other Zato players might think differently, but like, obviously I was in season 2 especially, but even now, I'm sort of like the Zato that plays like.
Yeah,
So my sort of take on it is, they killed Flight because Flight was a very strong tool.
Yeah.
And, I think the Flight nerf, I don't think many Zatos are, like, complaining about that. Even back then, we're like, oh, that's the one that they were complaining about, right? Like, the Flight nerf is, like, you know what? Fair enough. Like, I'm not complaining about that. But even despite the Flight nerf, I think, in certain ways, he's become sort of more reliant on Flight in certain matchups despite that. Because Eddie is dead for so long if he dies, it means like versus like Leo, I could maybe summon and just like try and finesse it or like try and do something before, right?
Yeah.
Whereas now, if I try and do that, then there's a very high likelihood that Eddie's gonna die, and then I'm gonna have to play god awful neutral for the next 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So rather than try and do that, I can just, you know, try and get my way in through flight, and then I can, you know, have Eddie to mix up after that, or da-da-da. So I feel like in some matchups he's still super reliant on flight as a tool.
Yeah.
And then when Eddie's gone for 7 seconds, it's like, what else is he gonna do? Like, yes, he has Far Flash Invite Help, which is, you know, a big deal. But that is like sending them to full screen, you know, stalling a little bit.
Yeah.
Fine. That's never gonna beat that's never gonna beat this, right?
Yeah.
The reward is still bigger on flight, so flight is still like a really important tool, and it's still a really strong tool, I think. Like obviously matchup dependent, but like flight is still strong. I just sort of wish his option. I don't like think they should buff flight or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think they should sort of leave flight as it is, and I think his non-flight stuff needs to be stronger. I think I don't think his non-flight stuff needs to be stronger, but they need to be stronger if they're not willing to give him, you know, which they're not willing to do. We've got to accept that they're not willing to like give him burst space back and stuff. Like I think him having weaknesses of like, you know, his like. I obviously thought he was a more interesting character when he had those weaknesses to compensate for his strengths. But I think we've sort of over the last year had to accept that that's just not what the devs want, and that's just kind of what it is.
Do you think that, so I know that at the VSF when Zato first got nerfed, I know that when the devs were telling you, when you were labbing Zato, I know that I believe it was you went up to the dev, you're like, yo, that's it? Like, that's that's all, right? Like, do you think now he's in a spot, though, where, for as bad as he is without Eddie, do you think it's fair enough that he's that bad, that now that he has the strengths he does with Eddie, with the conversions and whatnot? Or do you, obviously I know you still think Zato's pretty weak, but if you don't think he's strong enough, you know, if you don't think he's well compensated now for, you know, the timer nerf, then what is something you hope they would give him in the future that can maybe change your opinion?
Danger.
I know it might seem kind of like doomer, or it might seem doomer for the video, and that kind of
we're here for it. We're here for it.
But I basically think Zato is in like a. I do not expect him to ever be decent or like have. I basically think that all of his major problems from season 3 have been addressed in some way, but like obviously nowhere near enough, right? Like they've addressed his burst problem that, like I was talking about before. They've made him stronger in other ways to compensate. So like right now, if you look at Zato as a character, he's not like completely dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Okay. Like he's not like he was in season 3. He's not a completely dysfunctional character. He's just a weak one. And so I don't think he's going to get. Obviously, he's got a new special move coming and whatever.
Yeah.
You never know because of that. Like obviously, we just seen Chip's one, and that was crazy.
Crazy.
So, but I also, thinking about it, I do think Zato is probably going to be one of the later ones to get his special move, because obviously it's a lot of work with Eddie, I imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, they fixed. He's not a fundamentally flawed character, outside of one or two things that I'll talk about. So, well, where do you go from there? He's just a weak character, and how do you tune him? Well, a lot of the problems that he has, I'm not sure they can tune without like. Again, changing what the vision they have for the character. Like I said before, his weakness versus burst. How are they going to tune that? Well, one way that we would all agree is, okay, they can break the law back. Like maybe it's fine that he is bad versus burst on this situation if he's good versus it in this situation. But they're not going to do that, right? So they're not going to. Yeah, they're just not. So I think they can't fix that fundamental flaw that he has versus burst. Like, I would suggest maybe make it so that when Eddie dies, he goes into white recovery. But other people would argue that that's too strong. and I don't think the devs would do it. I mean, they've already come up with a solution. I don't think they're going to change their mind.
Yeah.
So, first problem is just here to stay. In terms of neutral, like, Eddie is really easy for a lot of characters to kill, and given the Eddie timer, that's a really big problem. So how do you fix that? Well, there's two ways you could do it. You can revert the Eddie timer, which, let's be honest, they're not going to do. Or you can make Eddie's move stronger during neutral. And you can see they've kind of tried to do this. You can see they've done this with the opposed change. They've made it so that oppose Eddie just doesn't drain as much until oppose comes out. So you can do stuff like this. You can do oppose and then clamp out. And that actually is a really nice buff. And it matters a lot for certain matchups versus like Asuka, Leo, and so just things where you need to throw out oppose and then you want to like save Eddie. And you don't have to use as much meter, so you can do like stuff like that. And I think you can even do like you see how Eddie like basically had two 50-bar moves, because you can do like this will not use even half of the bar, stuff like that. It's a nice change. And then it also means you can do stuff like this, oppose into oppose. I can unsummon even after the pop. It's just like really interesting neutral stuff.
Yeah.
So they have like kind of tried to make Eddie stronger, but it's still obviously not enough, right? Like, he's still really easy for a lot of characters to snipe.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're gonna fix that. I don't think they're gonna change that.
Yeah.
Maybe they could with a new special move, but I just doubt it. So then what else? What other things are his like major problems? Those two are obviously really big ones. And then next one I'd say is I don't want to go into massive detail because John Fontane would hate me, but like Deflect Shield invalidates this character.
Yeah.
Or basically invalidates this character in many situations. Like let's just do it in the corner and you Deflect Shield. Not that one. You do it.
We want me to deflect shield?
Just on like near the end of the drills.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I can technically keep the offense going if I go high, but it means that if I go low, I lose. And if I'm doing my timing for where I would do an Eddie string, you can actually just Deflect Shield there and then mash and kill Eddie. Right, and that's like this is like my ideal corner OP. If I'm trying to do like post wall break stuff, or like where I'm like doing this, block and inspection. If I'm doing this, I literally cannot do anything.
Yeah.
Like Deflect Shield, it's really situation dependent, and a lot of players just straight up do not know how to use it versus him. But Deflect Shield is like a massive problem for him in the same way that it is for Milia, and well, I mean, I think they're by far the worst characters versus Deflect Shield. I think they're obviously some people would say Milia is way worse because Deflect Shield OS.
Yeah.
I think Deflect Shield is like almost as bad versus Zato as it is versus Milia. I think it probably affects Milia more, but I think it's almost as bad versus Zato, or almost as good versus Zato as it is versus Milia.
Yeah.
And the problem is, Milia can have that fixed. If the devs remove Deflect Shield OS, which they can do, you just make... Well, I'm not going to go into it, but you can fix that.
Yeah.
Whereas they're not going to fix it versus Zato unless they... Because I'll be honest, I don't think they even realize it's a problem. I do not think they even know that Deflect Shield is a problem for Zato.
Yeah.
So they're not going to fix it. So those are like his three main problems, and obviously it sounds doomer, but I just don't think they're going. I do not believe they're going to resolve it. I think he's going to get like small buffs or maybe even large buffs, but like I think he's always going to have these core problems. Yeah. And so I don't think he can be. I don't see him ever becoming good again. Really.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think that with Zato, it's tricky. I think though, like the easy fix of just slap on the old Eddie timer. I'm curious on your thoughts, because do you think that would be too strong now with the state he's in?
I think that would be quite strong. I think we're like
Too strong?
he's not gonna be top tier. He's not gonna be top tier even with that, right? Because he still has a lot of those other fundamental problems. Like the top tiers are still gonna kill Eddie easily, and he's still gonna be really bad versus Deflect Shield. So I don't think he would be like top tier or anything, but like I think that would make him a lot stronger.
Yeah.
But again, that's just not something that they're realistically gonna do, and it's not something that we should realistically hope for, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. It's dude. Oh my gosh. If I already know if this character were to get the old Eddie timer back with this current state, hell would break loose on Twitter, bro. Oh my god, dude, he's so broken. He's so. It would be funny. It would be a funny time. Dude, I can't even imagine what people would think. They would actually think he's the next coming of like Johnny. It would be like some crazy shit.
Oh, for sure. I mean, people would be very afraid, and the main reason is like
Danger.
obviously it seems like a meme, but like people,
Negative penalty.
especially now, are just not. They're just not good versus Zato,
Yeah.
and they have no reason, and it's not like I blame them either. They have no reason to be good. They have no reason to be good versus Zato because there's no Zatos that are like, there's no top Zatos that are competing.
Yeah.
Like I am probably the best performing Zato, and I'm not actively playing the game. Latif's not playing. Tene's on Soul. Like, there's no reason to be good versus Zato. So people are just, for the most part, really bad versus him.
Agreed, yeah.
Because he's one of those characters that you kind of just need to be practiced. You need to be practiced versus him because he's got a lot of those knowledge checks. He's got a lot of,
Danger.
things, and that's still one of his strengths.
Negative
Even
penalty.
despite being, bottom 2, he still has that strength of being a tricky low tier, or a tricky uncommon character, and that gets compounded by being low tier because it means people have even less reason to be prepared for him, and so you can like cheese out wins that way.
Yeah.
But I will say, as a Zato player, that also it doesn't feel good to have to rely on that to win with your character.
Yeah, I hear you. I know that one of the issues that you think is going on is the break the law is just not. It's just really flawed. One of the things, and this is kind of funny, so break the law has essentially been reworked, right? It's gotten, it has a whole new purpose, which is like the whole Eddie swap, Eddie change move. And I feel like this move is never talked about because it's just, you never see it. It's pretty useless. This kind of niche tech came, with it, and, nothing really found. I want to, before you give me your opinion on, what, the new reworked break the law, I want to read you something, because I made a Zato video with Pep, and someone was in the comment section telling me their thoughts on this new move. So I want your opinion. To make sure I'm not going crazy, I want your opinion.
Sure.
So, he says, Botero01 says, the way to make sense of the new move is to say it out loud. What it does, it lets you teleport while invulnerable. At the same time, you have an active hitbox or an active defense spot opposed. Think about it. It should completely redefine its neutral, basically. You get to move around in a really disoriented fashion, and you get to confirm any Eddie hit, basically into wall break. It's a huge deal. The new swap/break the law is as consequential a new move as you could ask for. Really, Eddie is now very fast, and you get to move where he is. You can have him be invulnerable or attack while you move. Can you really not see the utility in such a thing? I know you people are really good at the game and all, but you don't sound very creative.
Danger.
That's definitely a take.
So what's your? I'm curious on your thoughts on the rework.
I will talk about the move because it is a buff.
Yeah.
And it's been. I was exploring it a bit. There are some mix-ups that people are doing where they'll do. Well, let's just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. There are some mix-ups like that people will do, but like usually if you can do a mix-up like that, there is a stronger mix-up that you could be doing. But like, sure, you can mess with that. That's like something you'll see Gobo just messing with because it looks funny and it's new. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
It's more certain like offense situations that it matters, or certain neutral situations, and some of those things actually got nerfed, sadly, which obviously we haven't talked about yet. But like, let's say I had you in drills. Let's pretend like it went like it did before. This used to be quite good. Sadly now, locking you down into drills is not a thing, because drills here into yeah, I mean, don't mash on it. Let's just pretend like we're playing your game. I'll do drills. I can teleport. I'm like, most people are gonna get hit by the cross up I do there or whatever.
Yeah.
But even if they don't, I can do like a I can do like a I can do a flight. And like that's really cool because you can't do that by just running up. So that was a cool change until they removed Sunvoid.
Yeah.
So that sucks. Full screen like lockdown Sunvoid is basically not a thing anymore because you have to do like this and it's like cheesy gimmicks, right?
Yeah.
So instead, where it basically only matters for like if I'm doing Eddie neutral and I cheese in like if I do like a drunkard shade, I can teleport in. If I do Drunken Shade, I can teleport in and then go for a mix-up.
Yeah.
But obviously, you are a good Zato player. You know this is really bad. This is not something that you're doing versus. Well, it's something you do, but like only to check that they're not bad. You know.
Yeah. Good luck doing that shit versus like half the cast.
Yeah. Instead, you can do it more. You'll see like stuff like you'll see Gobo do stuff like that. But even then, doing Drunken Shade into it. If you're playing against a good player, they're usually gonna try and check the Drunken Shade.
Yeah.
So that's not a reliable thing that you're gonna do. You could do like if you do like Pierce into it, like you're probably not you're not saving much time over just running up at that point. At that distance, rather. The one thing that I have explored is like if you do empty summon in the quack drills, then you can do like frog and unsummon like that. But even then, the frame advantage that you have isn't huge, and sometimes if they match, they'll just trade with my 2K and kill Eddie. So the frog there doesn't even seem great. You can do like walking forward and do another drills. That's fine, but like. It's very finicky. Like they basically removed my main use for it, which was drills in the teleport. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah. And I know sword is fucking sword.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that, but obviously that is a big deal. Like in the corner, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. It obviously does. If they don't have meter, then it doesn't matter. Or like if they don't have meter for YRC, it doesn't matter as much because something you might not have known. Like obviously you could do Pierce and cover the gap or whatever, but something you might not have known, and most people probably don't know, is this is just plus. This is just plus. You can actually just do like 2K, 2D.
Yeah.
But if they got meter, then you want to space outside of YRC, but then now you've got to do this, and that means you have to do Pierce, and then obviously that makes the offense a lot weaker.
But you're not realistically really getting the sword toss from like the range like right here, right? Because I mean you're getting like people are mashing that now.
You can Pierce frame traps.
No. I'm saying though, like you're not getting it in the like. For example, you're not doing like 5H sword from like this, like right here.
Oh no, 5H sword is dead.
Yeah,
5H sword.
Yeah,
5H sword is dead because they can just jump, air block, and then mash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 5H sword isn't a thing.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a really big nerf. But like, I was talking more for like just doing lockdown.
Got you. Okay, got you.
Doing lockdown here into drills, not 5H into drills.
Got you. Okay.
I was never like a massive 5H drills guy, even though it obviously was good. I was talking more like this kind of
Yeah. Okay. Got you.
but yeah, sword obviously a really big deal, and then there's just a couple other like really, some people might say small, but like a couple other Zato like things that we've been asking them to fix forever, and it's like kind of crazy that they haven't.
They're
like,
putting their foot down with this character, which is really surprising.
Yeah, just do like a neutral jump into backdash.
Oh, neutral.
Do like a neutral jump. You see how like, okay, this combos like that. This still does not combo. Well, it didn't combo there, and you can make it like more realistic combo if you do.
This backdash is also just broken. So it might be...
Yeah. You can make it more realistic combo if you do clap pierce like that, but like that doesn't even work on certain characters like Ino and so on.
Yeah.
And like that it's insane that is still a thing. Yeah, just very very questionable. I'm just really not sure who they have in casting this character.
Do you think that? So I do believe one of the reasons as well, like I think for the same reason that Johnny was weak on release is because he was the first character they balanced with Orange Wild Assault, and I think with Zato they were so scared of that current version of Zato being with Blue Wild Assault. I think maybe they just thought it would be too strong. I want to ask, do you think now that we've had Blue Wild Assault for so long, obviously we didn't get to play that Zato with Blue Wild Assault, but one, do you think he would have been too strong with Blue Wild Assault with how he was, or, and then secondly, kind of lead into, is Zato a good Blue Wild Assault user? Like, among the characters that use Blue Wild Assault, do you think he's in the upper end, not of character strength, but of just using the mechanic?
I think Zato is not a good user of Wild Assault.
Okay.
And like, when you look in isolation, you see like, you can do like insane mix-ups off it, right? You could do like empty summon in pro, you can do empty summon in drills, you can do or you can just do like raw drills, and then you like mix up, and it gives you an option off of like 5H that isn't just like RPS. Well, it is still RPS. So like it all seems really good, and like, okay, let's say you've got Eddie out, you can like maybe unsummon and do the offense. So it's on the surface it seems really strong, but then when you think about it in terms of his kit and what he wants to do, you start to realize that it's not really that strong for a couple different reasons. Number one is a lot of characters use Wild Assault as their like on block option, like I'm hitting block, I'm hitting someone's block, and I'm going into Wild Assault, and I'm gonna get my offense started, and but that was something that Zato had as a unique strength before. Like he always won on block. Obviously it was RPS, but like his favor RPS, he is starting his offense on block. Whereas now everyone can sort of do it. So like when you think like relatively, that's a bad thing, right? Now other characters can do what he did uniquely. And then even just thinking in terms of Zato, when I'm hitting someone on block with 5H, I don't want to do Wild Assault, really. Like I want to just like I still just want to RPS, especially with Raw Summon. Raw Summon is they buffed it, and Raw Summon is good. I'm just wanting to do stuff like that, and then just win that way. Especially because, again, Zato, if let's say you do open them up, if I use Wild Assault and then open them up, and then they burst me, I'm gonna go to like Eddie, Eddie-less, and I'm gonna go to neutral without burst. And Zato is a character that needs his burst. He's a good user of like his burst. So yeah, even just on block situations, other characters like sort of need One Assault to like do combos and get offense on block. But Zato already had offense on block, and it doesn't really help him with his combos outside of solo. So yeah, it just doesn't really. I just don't really feel like it has a solid place.
Yeah.
I can't really find it in my structure anywhere that I feel like, oh, this is where I like really want to use Wild Assault. Because when I think of like, oh, I can use it for like unsummoning and then like continue offense. That's something I do. Like I'll do, usually block. I'll just do like this, and then I'll like unsummon, and then I'll resummon. I'll crank some risk, and then I'll hit you, and you'll take a bit of damage. You'll go pretty good. But you saw you got your burst back there. If you bursted me, that sucked. And yeah, if you bursted me, that would have sucked.
Do you think too strong? Do you think it would have been too strong with his old version, like Blue Wild Assault and old Season 2 Zato? Do you think that would have been too strong?
Oh, people saying, as in like people always saying like, oh,
he would have been busted. He would have been broken. Top 1, top 2, whatever the fuck.
No. I mean, I think even with old Wild Assault, people were afraid like, oh, you could just do like Wild Assault on block, on a re-stagger and da-da-da. But like, even doing Wild Assault on block, I mean, like it's blue Wild Assault. You can backdash it, you can throw it.
Yeah.
I'm playing against Zando, and I'm doing Wild Assault in situations where I'm like nobody would expect Wild Assault.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing like QS Wild Assault because like you expect to see Zato Wild Assault after like 5 HP. I'm like, I'll do this, and he's throwing me. Okay, like it's a hard reaction. Obviously, it's like. But Zato has like a pretty easy tell. It's like really clear on frame 1.
Yeah.
For his Wild Assault. So like you can backdash it, or you can throw it, or yeah. So, and especially if it's solo Zato, like the risk to backdash is very little. Like what are you risking? You're gonna get hit by a delay invite hell, I guess.
Yeah.
So even old Eddie Timer Zato, I don't think is an insane abuser of Wild Assault. I think he would be good. I think old Zato would be good with Wild Assault. I think like finding a way to get Wild Assault on block and then using it to stalk Eddie would have been like, it would have been good, but I don't think it would be like game breaking as some people. I don't think it would have been game breaking as some people think. Some people think like Eddie runs out, Zato would just do like this, and Eddie would be back, and like that's just not how it works. Like in all of those moments when you're in hit stop, the Eddie timer is frozen, so like Eddie would not have been back there. That's basically my thoughts on that. The main place I use Wild Assault is honestly I'll just do like I was saying, this type of stuff, and I'll just but even that, I'm kind of just doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, or I'm getting positive bonus, and I'm doing like, and I'm just like looping it, and then looping supers, and I'm trying to loop. I'm really positive. I'm just doing it to meme. I'm not like, I don't feel like I ever really use his Wild Assault outside of like solo combos.
So I know so I know that with one of the changes to Zato in Season 3 was the command grab. So it kind of was the Eddie timer, I guess, that affected the command grab. But it seems like, dude, it feels like it should have been there the whole time. When it got nerfed, I'm surprised they also didn't adjust the grab to fit with, the Eddie timer. Now in Season 4, we finally just got it back. And it feels like it was almost, it felt like at times you would use command grab and it felt like you were trolling. Like, it felt like you were kind of like griefing using the grab. Already the OP as is was not great, especially midstream was not great at all. It's better now, like you said, with the change to far slash. But talk to me a bit about how bad it was like running offense with that grab, and where you think it ranks among the command grabs in the game.
Okay, well, just to be clear, just to say really quickly before this, his mid-screen command grab is still, if you don't have meter, it's still bad. Like,
It's
power
terrible.
slash does not reach. So, and like, US can get backdashed, and like the catching backdash is bad. Like mid-screen, it's still a bad command grab. Like even when it refills Eddie, it's still just bad. But in the corner, it's like it's pretty good. Like obviously every good player versus Zato knows the tech versus corner command grab. If he's just doing like // 5H, you crouch FD and then you stand.
Yeah.
And that basically just makes the punish win. And then you go for a left punish. Yeah, so every good player versus Zato knows that.
I feel like most people didn't know that. I feel like most.
Really?
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, no one knew that. I knew it, and I tried to tell people, but no one knew that, bro. Like, no one knew it.
Why would you tell people?
Bro, I was tired.
I guess I'm telling people now, but they're not gonna listen. But now you actually have like an option, because that basically meant that you had to RPS with like raw 5H, which just uses the mash and stuff like that. But now you can just like sort of straight up go into it by just doing like this into drills or raw summon or frog or something like that, and it still loses to certain characters 6Ps.
Yes.
And then you just do like. But then you just do 2S, and it's like a pretty clear like it's a pretty obvious like RPS that like feels a lot better than it did before.
Agreed.
So corner command grab, I'm completely happy with. I don't think it should be stronger. I know like some people think it should be like hard knockdown into like your ideal Oki.
Yes.
But like I don't think he should be that. I don't think he should.
Yes, bro. Bro, please, dude, please.
Bro, he's just gonna be a command grab character then, bro. Like,
bro, I would hope Nago literally exists, bro. We can't get a lick. So what do you think it ranks among the command grabs in the game? So there's Nago, there's Mei, there's
I'd have to look at the table, man, but I can't think of many command grabs.
Faust. It's not okay. Well, let's just say it's not better than Faust.
It's obviously not better than Faust.
It's not better than Pot.
It's better than Axel's. I'll give it that. It's a very low bar.
It's a very low bar. It's not better than Mei. Is it? I don't know. It's not better than. It's not better than Soul. It's not better than Soul.
Danger.
It's definitely not better than Soul.
It's probably better than Chips and Bridget's.
Yeah, it's better than Chips. It's better than Bridget's.
Not better than Nago.
Nowhere near better.
Not better than Slayers.
It's like on the verge of being like obviously the Chip Bridget's. Those are like meme. Those are like Axel. Those are like meme reaction checks. It's not one of those. It's not one of those. But like, it's not good.
It's not. Yeah. There's some messed up command grabs in this game. So I think that Zato's is good. It's good for him, but like realistically, in a wide view, it can't stand up to those, bro. Like Faust, bro. Like, nah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times when Zato command, like you can't even use the grab mid screen a lot of the time. Like if you use the grab mid screen, a lot of times it's just like, damn, like I trolled. Like I should have just done regular throw. Like what am I doing?
Just one other thing that I wanted to talk about was going back to like Break the Law. One of the things with like Break the Law has sort of like lost its identity of being a burst bait, and they tried to give it identity by being like it's a teleport. But like the teleport is not important. Like you could remove it from the character and he would like.
No one would, bro. No one's losing sleep over that, bro.
No one would lose any sleep. No one would lose any sleep. Yeah. So it's still a move that feels like it lacks identity. Its identity is basically just being I need to do it to avoid a reversal.
Yeah.
which is a bad identity to have
Yeah.
because, like, oh yeah, this is my favorite move. It's the one that I have to do if I want to avoid Ram Super. That's it. That's its use.
Yeah.
That's no one say that's their favorite move. Oh yeah, but you know what people are saying? They're saying, "Oh, I love the move that lets me get under their." So like, it just doesn't really have identity. Like, it's basically just for the teleport, which some people will find fun. It's
Yeah.
not good, but it like some people will find it fun. Whatever. That's fine. Or it's just like, I'm gonna just go under the floor and like try and cheese some RC stuff. But like,
Yeah.
come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's you're not really.
Yeah.
That's not it.
It's yeah.
So yeah, its identity is mainly just being the thing that you have to do and just block. The thing that you just have to do after certain strings like this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
And like you don't want to do it because I'm committing myself to counter hit recovery.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah, I like.
You're lost. GG's, bro. You're going through the wall. GG's.
I don't want to do it, but like, I either do it or I do this, which you can punish, or a lot of characters can just punish.
Yeah.
I have to do it if I want to avoid super after 2D. I have to do it, like, it's just a move that you have to do, but that you don't want to do. And obviously the obvious solution here is to just make 2D -8. So that Zato, because right now, one of like the stupidest things is because of the 6p nerf, which like,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
which we haven't even talked about. The 6p nerf, we can get to the 6p nerf after this. But the 6p nerf means that
Danger.
after 2k, Zato has no Gatling or no string that is, you know, safe on block versus that's safe on block. Like 6p is punished. I could do 2d, which is punished by, you know, 9-frame reversals, 9-frame supers, and well, that as well. And obviously, like, you can frame trap with Drunken Shade. Whoops.
Oh.
You know, you can frame trap with Drunken Shade, but that will lose to, again, the reversals and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And certain characters can just beat all the options if they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically like, okay, I either just do, well, this used to be the thing that you could do. You could do 2k 6p, and you would be safe to reversals, and then you could like RPS with. Am I gonna Drunken Shade frame trap, or am I just gonna like do nothing and it's gonna be barely fine? Like that's a fine situation. And there's a gap in between, but that gap anyway. So that was fine before. That was like 6p was the solution to that string, right? But now, after 2k 6p and 2k 2d, they're both so insanely punishable that like they both got punished by super now, where 6p didn't before. So like I have to do the frame trap to frame trap your match, but then when I'm trying to frame trap your match, I'm going for the super. So what does that mean? I have to do and that means
So bad.
it's just bad.
It's so bad.
It's just bad. One of the things that I sort of wish they did is they bumped up the recovery on this doesn't matter if it's straight, by the way, but one of the things that I wish they did was they bumped up the recovery on Summon. I was sort of hoping it would make it so that like my hit draw summon would be like safe versus reversals. So like if I did this Ram does summon does the Motobato, I would be safe, like I could get punished.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. When it works like that versus like Slayer Super, for example, if you do like 5 HP summon versus Slayer, you can block the Super.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. That would have, you know, been cool, but they didn't do that.
Well, yeah, you know, Zato can't ask for too much, you know.
Yeah, and then yeah, just to briefly touch on it, because like we were saying, the 6p change obviously was a universal change with all those season 4 changes, but but it was like it's a blessing and a curse for Zato because, like we just talked about, it makes his strings way worse. He's always had the worst strings, right? But
Yeah.
like now he has by far the worst. Like really, like these strings are just really bad. And he's meant to have bad strings, obviously, but given the Eddie timer, he needs better strings if Eddie's going to be dead for so long.
Yeah.
But
Danger.
rather than give him better strings, they've made his strings worse.
Yeah, worse. Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, apart from that, it was like this was like one of his only quote unquote god. It was his only like god button, right? Like it was the only thing that he could like just throw out.
That
And
shows
be
gap.
like,
That shows gap.
It was like the only thing that he could just throw out belligerently before. Like obviously he has his 5p and 2p, but like those are obviously like a complete niche. They don't lead to anything. They're just like zoning and poking and being annoying.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing as when characters are throwing out their old 6Ps or like certain characters fast slashes or so on, or like 5Ks and so on and so forth. This was Zato's version of that before, and now he has basically no version of that. He has no button. He has no belligerent button at all anymore, really.
Yeah.
So that just really hurts his neutral versus a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Like Johnny, Bridget, Ram, or all the
Bridget. Oh my gosh, dude, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I could rant for like
We
a
could-
whole evening about Bridget players complaining so much about season 4,
Oh,
as if like all of the Bridget changes were amazingly paired with 6P now.
I know,
But
dude.
like anyway, that's a completely different topic. But then not to be a complete doomer, like the 6P change I think is overall a Zato nerf.
Danger.
But it is a Zato buff because it means flight is even more.
I know
Like
you're
that,
happy.
and then it comes back to what we were saying earlier, and then it means that he sort of has to do it even more.
Yeah.
Like I think like just this sort of like belligerent flight is like sort of like he has to do it even
More, yeah.
even more, which like wasn't the whole point of nerfing flight to move him away from doing that. So I don't know, it's really odd.
Yeah.
I don't really, obviously they weren't making this change with Zato in mind, so it makes sense, but when you think about it in terms of Zato, it seems like against their vision of what they wanted the character to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know, I just obviously
Danger.
I think he needs better strings. I mean, you were talking earlier like what he needs. He needs better strings. They could fix that by giving him like a special ender.
I was
with his new special
literally
move.
about to ask you that. I was literally about to ask. I was gonna say for the last thing I wanted to ask you. I was gonna ask, you don't have to, again, because the new moves, they range from anywhere from being an add-on to a new move to a completely new move like Chip's Tightrope.
Danger.
So
Yeah.
so if you, maybe not exactly what the move is, but what do you want the new
Negative
move
penalty.
to do? And that'll be the last thing I ask you. Anything in mind
Yeah.
that you want? Because I think they could do something really cool, or something really lame like, oh, he can recharge Eddie like from full speed.
Yeah,
or
for
something.
sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's a few different things they could do, and it could, like you said, it could be really lame or it could be really cool.
Yeah.
The first thing that like would be pretty lame, but like it fixes a problem,
Danger.
is they could make it like a string ender. So like maybe it's like a weak string ender, but like maybe he could like combo up a P button, like just give him like a soft knockdown that like he could like combo up a 5P and like hit them into like a soft knockdown. That's not a good knockdown, but like you know.
Yeah.
And that would and maybe make it so that he could do that string off of like 2K duty and then go into that string. And maybe they have to IB it if they want to punish or something. Like they could do that, right? They could make it like they could give him an option that would fix some of those holes. But that's obviously a boring special.
Yeah.
That would be a strong special, but it's a boring special.
Yeah.
And then the second one, like you
Danger.
talked about, that obviously I know Tene sort of wanted was exhaustion, making it because one of the really bad feelings right now is like the solo Zato offense is like really not good. So like let's say if I run out of Eddie, like I said I just run out of Eddie, and then I hit you with a 2K2D, like you do not care. Because solo Zato offense is just too weak. And stalling and using it to stall for Eddie
is terrible.
Isn't good, because during all the offense that you're doing, the Eddie gauge is freezing, and so like you're not actually stalling much time for him. Unless you're just you kind of just forced to go for like YOLO throws, because all of the other offense doesn't really stall long enough for him. And even the YOLO throws, you'll need to do some more staggers afterwards and stuff. Like it's just not good. So the whole point of exhaustion was, okay, you could like use it after a knockdown like this to sort of like get Eddie back. Which again, it's a boring change, but it fixes one of his, massive problems. And there's a bunch of different specials you could make. I'm sure you could make a special that could like fix his problem versus burst, maybe. But again, it would be a boring special or something. I would rather they fix those issues in different ways, and then make the special something like actually interesting in the same way that Chip Tightrope is. Like Chip Tightrope is kind of broken, and it should probably be tuned down a bit, but like it's very clearly fun, and it opens up the character in a bunch of new ways. I would prefer it if they added something like that, and then the other problems, for Zato, and I would prefer if they added something like that for Zato, and then they fix those other problems in different ways. Like, rather than adding exhaustion, you could... I mean, they're not going to do it, but you could just reduce the Eddie timer, right? Like, I would rather they fix those problems in other ways, and then the new move, you could make something really interesting. Like, just give him new neutral tools, because we were saying before about like how Eddie is so easy to kill. You give Eddie a new, like, I mean, obviously the problem is like, where would you do it? You can give him a dust button, but that means that like this offense doesn't work. So it is a bit tricky with like how you can do it, whether it'll be a Zato move or an Eddie move.
Yeah, and the devs we trust, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, my dream is like, give me air summon.
Okay, alright. We're happy.
Give me air summon.
Yeah, we're happy.
No, let me go up here and let me like set a puddle that drops to the floor. You know, because they've already got the technology. When you do sword, wait, like jump in the air. Just wait, jump in the air. Wait, that's not the puddle.
No, dude.
They've already got the technology for the puddle, bro. So like, let me just fly up here, set the puddle, and then, super jump up here, set the puddle, and then fly away, and then do Eddie neutral.
We're throwing rocks at you, bro. Like
that would be so finesse. That would be so finesse.
Well,
maybe, and then make it aimable. Make it so that you can shoot it forward.
Okay, alright, see what happened. No. Alright.
Tell me that's not finesse.
Thank you. You know what? No, I'm done with you, bro. Oh man, no, but I appreciate Setchi coming on. Thank you for watching. I am curious to hear everyone's thoughts. I mean, obviously, we did say a lot, so I'm curious if you guys agree with Setchi's opinion. I love all the comments, whether you think we're idiots or, whatever, we're just yapping. I read them all. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll put Setchi's socials on the screen, his Twitter. He doesn't stream, but I'll put his Twitter and Discord on the screen. He doesn't play too much, but if you guys want some Zato knowledge, then feel free to ask him. I'm sure he'll give you some games if you're in the Europe area as well. So yeah, thank you, and until the next time, thank you.